Hey guys, hi, this is the main guy CBK, and today we've got Apex Knows, AMA with Apex Knows, the team out there, down there, some people say, down there in Australia, Sydney, and it's a pleasure to have you guys with us, man. How you guys doing?
Fantastic, Carl. Thank you. Thanks for having us here. Yeah, feeling great. Early in the morning here in Australia, but yeah, feeling fantastic. Thanks for having us.
So, what sort of time are you working on right now? What time is it for you there?
In crypto, there's no time, as you know. It's all mixed up. So, but right now it's 7 a.m.
Oh wow,
here.
wow.
Yeah. So, especially at the launch, during the launch when we were coming into it, it was just pretty much 24 hours nonstop on the phones. Yeah, communication with the teams, the partnerships. So it's been a hectic ride. I'm trying to catch up with some sleep, 2 or 3 hours a day.
And you guys been pretty much on it since you launched 2 days ago, was it, or a day ago when you guys launched? I think it was two. Or
Correct.
Yeah,
it was 29th. It was pretty much close to midnight time in UK. We always talk UTC UK times. No one cares about Australian time. So, as you said, we're very down under there. So if I said to them Sydney time, they're like, "What are you talking about?"
yeah, exactly. Get with the program, man. We work with ETH, UTC, or GMT. But no, that's great. That's great. Good to have you guys here. Thank you for expending the time. 7 o'clock in the morning. That's a very early time. I don't normally wake up till 10 o'clock, but you know, it is what it is. Excellent. All right. So we've got yourself. You're the CEO, right? And your name is Tom Barr. Dean James. Dean James, would you like to introduce yourself, sir, and what capacity you work with Apex?
Yeah, no problems. Yeah, so my name's Dean. I'm an Aussie like Tommy. I've been investing in crypto since 2017. I was actually a corporate guy. Worked for one of the largest specialist recruitment firms for 16 years. And in 2018, I jumped into the world of being an entrepreneur and actually founded my own fitness business. We've got gyms in Hong Kong and Los Angeles. All along that time, I guess I was going through the highs and lows of crypto, and probably like a lot of people on the node front, I came across Strong and started getting involved in Strong nodes at the start of last year. And towards the end of last year, I decided that I wanted to move into crypto full time. I still got the fitness business as a secondary piece, and decided to launch my own sales, talent advisory, and investment business. And probably it was around February I first saw Apex, and I caught Tommy in I think it was his first AMA, and came off very, very authentic, straight shooter like myself, and it prompted me to reach out. So from there, we basically spoke for about 8 weeks, back and forth, and I was introduced to Stallion. And part of my process of investing in a company, I've got about 35 questions that I deep dive and do a deep dive review, and jumped on I think it was about a 2-hour call with Tommy and Stallion. And I guess the thing that caught me the most was, I said to Tommy, look, if these are pretty deep questions. If there's anything you don't want to answer, and he stopped me straight away and said, look, there is nothing we won't answer. We're completely transparent. And off we went. So through that process, I then decided to say to Tommy, look, I'd love to get involved from a business development partnership capacity, and obviously help support and build the protocol that they've created. And here we are. So that's my story.
Brilliant. And thank you for sharing that, Dean. And we've got the chief engineer, Apex, Adam. How you doing, Adam?
It's great to be with you, Carl.
Excellent. Okay. And are you down there in Australia as well, or where exactly are you?
No, I'm actually in Western Canada.
Okay, cool. And how did you get connected, and what's your story, Adam?
So I've known Tommy for quite a while now. I got my start in crypto in 2016. I'm an engineer by training, biomedical engineer. I got my start in crypto in 2016 deploying Bitcoin and Ethereum mining equipment and just building larger and larger farms. And that's how I got my start on the infrastructure side of things. Discovered nodes as well last year and really became quite passionate about them. And working together with Tommy, we decided, you know what? Let's build the node protocol that Strong should have been. Let's build the investment vehicle that we would have wanted to invest in ourselves. And I think we've really built something special here with Apex.
Okay, brilliant. And so am I right in assuming then that you are pretty much part of the coding or the actual development team, or?
So we have a lot of developers and engineers that work under us. Right. I also lead up the hardware side of the infrastructure. So we're unlike other nodes as a service providers, we actually build and deploy all of our own hardware at a data center that we run that uses 100% renewable energy. So our mission this year on the hardware development standpoint is to expand our hardware infrastructure across 3 continents and to keep to that commitment of using 100% renewable energy.
Brilliant. Now, am I right in assuming, did you say that you come from a medical background? Medical engineering background, should I say?
That's right, biomedical engineering by training.
Biomedical engineering, right? Okay. I've kind of worked. I mean, myself, I'm from a networking engineering background, right? So I'm actually, Cisco certified engineer, right? But I've worked and set up a lot of equipment, servers, running the cables, data centers, all of that. I've got years and years of experience in, and I've actually, dabbled in working with a lot of hospitals as well. So when you say bioengineering, to what detail are you going into? Now, I'm not going off what we're here to talk about, guys, but I'm just trying to see exactly from where you're coming from, Adam.
So, for example, the last project I worked on in the biomedical engineering space was on developing prosthetic limbs that could be controlled using the patient's own neurons. So
Right.
that was a long time focus for me and our team.
Right. Okay, got you. Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right. OJ's what developer like myself. He's part of the team. We were supposed to have another person on. She couldn't make it, unfortunately. So OJ, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, OJ, just a developer, really by trade. Had a huge interest in crypto since I found out about it in about 2015. Kind of played with it to an extent where it became an issue scholastically. So I stupidly went towards school instead of what I wanted to, and finally getting around to what I wanted to do now. And moving forward with different projects in this space that I really foresee as the future of how money works, decentralization, and trying to just push that forward along with other people. Like you guys, just pushing the model of decentralization forward and seeing how this different technology is going to play a part in a lot of pictures that we don't really see. So that's where I'm coming from.
Cool. Yep. And OJ is definitely, he's the spearhead to a lot of what we do as a team, when it comes on to development, when it comes on to keeping the team together, and cracking the whip when he has to. So I'll give it out to him. Give it out to OJ. All right, cool. So guys, look, we've done the formalities, introduce ourselves. So Apex. Now, the reason I reached out to you guys is based on your roadmap, which looks very, very interesting. All right. So I'm excited for you guys to share more about the actual Apex, how you got from conception to to where you are now and where you're going in the future. So, you know, just go ahead, just let me know, and I will interject and ask questions. I'm sure OJ will do the same as we move on.
I would be happy to take this question. So Apex, you can think of Apex as almost two companies. We have a node infrastructure company, and then we have a DeFi development company. And these two actually work quite synergistically. On the node infrastructure end, we deploy nodes, validators, and other equipment of that nature to help support all of these networks and blockchains that we know and love. On the DeFi development end, we are looking to build a permissionless ecosystem of platforms from a lending market to an auto compounder to other features of this nature, including more features in our decentralized exchange, Apex Swap, and using all of these together to really push the DeFi envelope as well.
Okay, brilliant. Auto compounder, you said, right? So, on the actual website, am I right in assuming that you guys are going to be building out your own blockchain as well?
So we're going to be launching an Avalanche subnet towards the end of June, and that's going to be a way for us to facilitate either our internal transactions for our ecosystem on that chain, and we'll also be rolling out some other use cases for that chain as well. But we will be deploying a subnet for Avalanche in June.
Right. Yeah, so if we take a step back as well, so if we have to look at Apex as Apex Corporation on top, like a foundation we've actually built, and underneath it, it's got its different units and different project leads, different dev teams that's building our, a node infrastructure, our DEX, and we've got our bridges, which is tied into the DEX, and we've got a lending protocol as well. So it's got different divisions that will pretty much all reports back into the Apex Foundation on top. So yeah, so we treat them as different projects, different project leads as well. But again, it all ties back into the Apex Foundation on top, which we'll go into a bit more details around each units and functionality and the sustainability of that whole model.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Jacob, OJ, you got anything you want to?
Yeah, I kind of want to touch on it, but I think you guys are going to be able to answer it in terms of what you were saying there, Tom. So I'm going to hold off for now. Okay,
cool. So with the actual Apex chain, just so that I completely understand, this is going to be its own blockchain, right? That has a native token connected to it, and people can basically build applications or dApps on that actual blockchain, or is it just specific for the Apex nodes?
So this is an actual blockchain that people can build on top of if they want to. Usually with subnets of Avalanche, they tend to facilitate a specific use case, and this also takes congestion away from the Avalanche mainnet chain. As far as the native token, we're actually going to be using the Apex token as the gas for this ecosystem. So we're not going to have a token specific to the Apex chain. Rather, we're going to be using the same Apex token as the token that you'll need to navigate that ecosystem. Okay,
cool. Now, I basically saw the total supply of being 1,200,000. Sorry. Yeah, 1,200,000, right? So you're going to use this total supply to feed the nodes in that sense, and also provide that gas facility for the actual chain.
Well, the way that these tokens come into circulation from the reserve wallet, so you can think of that reserve wallet as the out of circulation supply. So the way that nodes come into circulation is via the Apex nodes protocol, and that's from a practical standpoint for an investor, the Apex nodes protocol is a passive income protocol. You use 10 Apex tokens to generate one node on chain that you can then use to generate 0.12 Apex tokens per day, or a daily return of 1.2% as far as the token amount goes on that original investment.
Right. Okay.
But so the way that the gas for that chain comes into existence, so to speak, is it's being produced by these nodes.
Right. Okay. So all right. Because sorry. Normally with nodes, so what you're basically saying then is the gas is going to pay the node holders, being the current node holders that you guys have now, right? Every gas, a percentage of that gas is going to be paid out to the node holders. Is that what you're saying, or have I got
So the way that the node holders benefit, and let's actually look at this from a cross ecosystem standpoint. Mm-hmm. So we have the DEX, we have an auto compounder, which we'll go into more detail on, lending market. We haven't discussed this quite yet. We also have the Apex bridge.
Right. Are you still there? I think we've lost Adam. Oh dear.
That's okay. I'm here. I think he might rejoin. But he's still there. I can see him. Yeah. So let me just tie it up with while he's trying to sort out his audio as well. So so the subnet we're building is pretty much from everything is just going to be pretty much tying back into the ecosystem that Adam mentioned. So when we create the subnet, it's not going to be an extra benefit to a node holder, because the node holder is still going to get the 0.12% of that, the rewards. But what it's going to do is pretty much, add to that sustainability that we're trying to build around, rather than using an Apex coin, that's going to be, an AVEX token that's going to be, utilize an AVEX network. It's pretty much using the Apex that will be, again, coming back into the sustainability. So we just want to keep everything under that ecosystem. That's why we're actually creating that as well, and for the validators.
Right.
Okay. Adam, I think you're on mute as well, so I can see that. That's okay.
Okay. All right. All right. So with the whole, at the moment, you guys have AVAX validators, or you're planning to get AVAX validators. Am I right? Or
yes, we've actually just purchased the tokens for the validator during that correction down into the 55, 54 range. So we were able to get a fantastic price on all of those tokens that we'll need for that validator. So we'll be deploying that validator in the very near future.
Okay.
And actually, anybody that's holding Avalanche tokens will actually be able to stake those to our validator if they'd like to.
All right. Okay. That's cool. That's brilliant. All right. Okay. I will get more into the whole way in which the infrastructure in that sense works. Let's go back to the actual launch, because the way you guys launch, it was pretty smooth. I'll be honest with you. I'll take my hat off to you guys, man. I've been with a lot, I've been into a lot of Node and various different projects in their launch, and it's just been rocky as hell, right? You guys pretty much, give or take, I think you guys probably, you probably was about an hour or hour and a half late. But in crypto time, that's not late at all, because some people, they put off 24 hours, 46 hours. Next thing, it's not going to happen until next week. How did you guys manage to launch and it was that smooth? What was the actual building blocks or the mechanisms that allow that to happen?
We have a very professional team, and our development team is, everyone on that team is just absolutely world-class developers. We were ready, and we'd rehearsed this. So we knew just what we needed to do. we would have liked to launch maybe 30 minutes earlier, but loading certain transactions can take a little bit longer than anticipated. But we were able to get all of that done, and I'm happy to say that our launch was completely bot free. Our anti-bot mechanisms were ensured a fair distribution of tokens. So on that front, we promised we would use strong anti-bot measures, and those were 100% successful.
I'm glad from outside it was actually known as smooth as well, because internally we're like, why isn't this not happening? Why is that? So we're because we're a bit more perfectionists as well, we want to get everything right. And I think we didn't give a specific time frame. That really helps. So normally when projects are we're going to launch at this time and this minute, that everyone just bombards the network and trying to look for. So we gave a bit of a time frame. We said 8 p.m. UTC to 12 p.m. So I think we launched at 12:35 p.m. Like we're about 30 minutes off, but we didn't want to give a specific time frame because we know in crypto, as even that 10 minutes delay, you start getting a lot of noise and a lot of unhappy people. So we wanted to, expand. And plus we didn't want to, as Adam mentioned about that bot snipes, and really launching on our own DEX and our swap functionality. People didn't really have that luxury to really analyze our swap beforehand and really trying to put in a bot to really snipe it as well. So it was literally impossible to do it. And we wanted to have a fair launch, really fair launch. And we said to the public from day one, if there's any, sales that's happened beforehand, look, we'll actually blacklist those. Like we'd really, and there was no team tokens, and there's no team nodes. Just fair as we can, because we know the nodes projects that came previously don't have the best reputation, and let's face it, the passive income community is not very favorable when a new node project comes on board. The question marks is, here comes another node project, and we know what's going to happen to them in a couple of weeks or months time, so that'll disappear. So everyone was saying, is it the right time to launch? It is, because look, I think we've got this solution that an ecosystem we're building. We've got our heads down, just pretty much building, and we want to deliver the tech. The price is the price. The market will decide on that. We can't control the price. We can't. What we can do is pretty much deliver. And we didn't pretty much have to go into, like our marketing team said, okay, we've got all these partnerships. Do we really need to announce all these? And we're like, yeah, we do. And from a marketing perspective, it's the wrong thing to do to really start announcing everything beforehand. But again, it ties up to that. Let's bring that confidence level back to the node projects. Let's just show people that we've actually got a working solution. We've got utility. We've got real partnerships. And, we'll get into a bit more detail. We're actually insured by an insurance company, our smart contracts, which makes us the first node projects actually insured. And they're working along with us, along with the bridges, the DEXs that we're building. So it's not just for the nodes that we're getting insured. We want to make sure, we're working with the right people to bring that confidence back to the node investors. So everything is that we're doing. Yes, we have revealed all these functionalities that we're putting there. We didn't have to, but we wanted to do everything right.
Right. Okay. And that sounds brilliant. And to be quite honest, it really did work, because with most projects that's launched, you've got bots, you've got all types. The last say a minute before the actual launch time, you just get all these people rushing into the Discord, Telegram, and just wanting to get that last minute announcement so they can just activate their bots. And you guys actually handled that like a champ. So thumbs up for that, definitely. OJ, you got any questions?
Yeah, I want to say congratulations, number one, on the super smooth rollout and the timing for that, and hats off to everyone that was involved. Truly, it's remarkable, and you guys should really feel good about it. Number two, I have just some questions about the compounder. Truly, how everyone's earning 1.2 a day, how you guys came up with 1.2 versus others, and seeing how that plays a role in the total sustainability.
That's a great question. So I'm happy to take that one. So as far as the sustainability of the ecosystem, so at launch, approximately 1% of our tokens are in the liquidity pool. 99% or thereabouts is in the Apex reserve pool. So that's the source of the yield for our nodes. So the way that reserve pool gets refilled is multifaceted. Every swap on the DEX, for example, helps replenish that. Every user of our DeFi auto compounder, which we can get into more detail on in a bit, the fee is generated there. The bridge aspect, the lending market, all of these together feed into that reserve pool, and by the mechanism of purchasing Apex token from the liquidity pool and automatically sending those to the reserve pool. So that's that source of yield.
And do you guys have those as like a variable that you would change under any means in the future, or is that pretty much locked in for you guys as going, this is truly how we saw from day one and should be consistent?
For white paper, we outline that after a node has reached 1 year old, that the rewards on that node can decay up to 50% for that individual node.
And it will start decaying.
And this is so, and the rate of decay is a function of replenishment of the ecosystem. So we'll make the decision, say, as to how much the first change. That 50% decline would be a very incremental decline, and would only be there if it becomes necessary. It will just basically take another look at where things are 11 months in, gathering all the data from that time period, and then make a call saying like, okay, maybe we don't need to change those rewards day one because the volume on the DEX and the revenue in the auto compounder is substantial enough to offset that. Or you may say, okay, it's time for those rewards to come down 10%, but that's again only for 1 year old nodes. And a typical ROI in a node is 83 days. So by the time that happens, people should well be into profit.
So you've really made those measures of sustainability for the user available to them under any means, basically. And it's kind of including that mentality of it is participation at the end of the day that contributes towards sustainability. So newer transactions on newer nodes is going to add to the total picture. So
that's absolutely right.
Yeah, so we had the luxury as well to really look at the projects that came into the market with that with the node infrastructure. And again, look, not all of them had the right intention, but we still analyzed all their models, their tokenomics, and trying to understand what they were trying to build. And even looking at Strong as well, when they first came out, they in a very short period of time they burnt out 95% of the their tokens, and they're pretty much in supply about 150,000 in circulation. So we didn't want to cut it short, and that's why we worked out at 1.2. We worked with some data scientists around, and we did a lot of modeling. Of the modeling, we went for about 3-4 months, and we didn't want to come out, giving really crazy rewards as well, because it's impossible for the sustainability. And look, mathematically, if you have a look at it, after a year to still be paying that 0.12, it's when you do the maths very quickly, it's very hard to sustain it if you don't have a healthy ecosystem that actually supports those mechanisms. And hence we said that after 12 months time we will be reviewing and having a look how our other functionalities work. I'd love to be in a position that we can extend that and it doesn't drop, or we can, as Adam mentioned, drop it by 5% each month, and slowly in 6-7 months later, we can bring that down to 50%. But by that time, the node holders would have made the ROI, multiple times. And then, and we're not a believer in a full decay model where you lose your nodes. That's not the right thing to do. But if it's necessary, we'll have to bring that down. But we're so confident with our other parts, which we'll go into a bit more detail around fees and what we're trying to build, that it can be a very reduced, or maybe, we can extend it as well. But we just wanted to put it in there in the white paper, be transparent. We don't want to launch with 0.12 and then a couple of months later drop that. We've seen a lot of projects do that. It just loses the confidence of the, of the community. We didn't want to start up with 0.2s or 3s that other projects are doing. We said, let's be realistic. Let's work on a model that, we can sustain, and then let's review it like 9-10 months later and make a call from there.
It's a good way to look at it. I like that. Yeah, I got no other questions concerning that. Carl, do we want to break into another topic before we attack this auto compounder?
No, go ahead. I'm interested to hear about the auto compounder. So go ahead, guys.
I'd be happy to go into detail on this one. So let's first look at let's first understand the concept of liquidity pool. So a liquidity pool is a pair on a decentralized exchange that consists of two tokens. For example, the Apex liquidity pool consists of the Apex token and the Avalanche token. You can take another example. Let's say the Avalanche and USDC pair. Let's say you have an Avalanche and USDC liquidity token that's earning, let's say 60% APR on the yield for providing those two pairs. What an auto compounder would do would be allow an investor in a liquidity pairing like that to deposit those tokens in the auto compounder, such that the yield that's generated from that pair is then sold on an hourly basis and reinvested 50-50 into the two parts of that pair. So what this does is allow the investor to earn yield on their yield in a way that ultimately increases their APY in a way that's gas efficient, tax efficient, and provides them the best possible return on that pair.
Okay, all right, that sounds interesting.
We can actually take it one step further from there as well. So the users of our auto compounder will also be able to use a feature in our lending market that will allow them to deposit a receipt from the auto compounder that represents the value of their LP and borrow against it to a certain amount, using that receipt from the auto compounder as collateral, if you will, which they can use to either leverage up their position or make trades, or essentially have it such that they don't need to sell their position if they need to use those funds for expenses as well. So that's going to be something that I'm really excited to roll.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that sounds like it'll be fantastic. Yeah, how soon are the talks going to be public, or the rollout for that going to be more public?
So we'll be rolling out our ecosystem in pieces. So we've launched phase 0 of Apex Swap, which is apexswap.io, and this is the exclusive place where you can purchase the Apex token that's used to create nodes in the protocol. The next thing we'll be rolling out is phase 1 of the Apex Swap, which is going to have an expanded number of pairs and some additional features. We'll also be connecting the Apex bridge into Apex Swap, and then afterwards we'll be rolling out the auto compounder and lending market. As we move, we'll have the Apex chain will come out first prior to the auto compounder, and then we'll have the auto compounder and then the lending market soon thereafter.
Okay, so it's kind of like it's a tighter timeline, not too big of a timeline in between everything, but you're still allowing then for true belief in the rollout to then include into the actual rollout that will lead it to its sustainability by having those people then follow that train.
Oh, certainly every aspect of our ecosystem that we've made public should be completed well before the close of the year.
Yeah. So that's good faith for anyone that's coming in then as an investor. If I come in as an investor, then that's good to see. It's good to hear, and it shows me truly where it's going and why these steps are needed to be taken at certain lengths. So, yeah.
Brilliant. So with the well, not necessarily the bridge, but let's say the exchange part of it. At the moment, the only people that's really going to use the exchange are people that want to exchange their AVAX for Apex, right?
That's the only application for phase 0. So we've just, with that pair, that's the only functionality that's online currently. So we'll be expanding that in the coming weeks and months. Okay.
So are you then planning to generate some type of revenue that you can put back into the actual ecosystem to keep, just keep the node holders generating some type of income? Are you going to be using that functionality, the actual exchange functionality, where you have fees for each exchange that will go back into the Apex nodes, right?
That's exactly right. So a percentage of those fees that are generated from Apex Swap. While Apex Swap is a standalone protocol, it tips its hat to the Apex nodes by using a percentage of the fees generated to purchase the Apex token back and then return it to that rewards pool, which keeps the sustainability of the nodes and the runway for the nodes ever growing.
Okay, brilliant. So, yeah, sorry, you want to say something, Tom?
Yeah. I'm just saying that with the DEX as well, we're working with very specific projects as well that don't have liquidity, especially on around the AVAX chain. We're working very close, and look, and I can reveal one is in the top 30. One is in the top 10 projects that we're working with that don't really have liquidity in the Avalanche network, and we have exclusivity that we might be rolling out their liquidities into, the LPs into. So it's going to be a DEX where, and again, if I have to go back, we're working with people that's been, building the Ethereum foundation. So we've got very smarts around it, and mathematically we believe that it's impossible to beat around our algorithms. So we're very, very bullish and competitive on our DEX as well. After especially the node protocol is launched as well, a lot of our energy is going into our DEX which we'll be launching very soon. So we believe that we've got a very good model with our DEX, and especially if we bring the special the LPs and the projects that are not breached, and at least we can use them with their their communities can use them at the bridge and the DEX as well. So so it's quite exciting. It's actually really interesting. Even your average DEX brings about $300,000 fees a day, which is quite interesting. Like just the fees generated from the DEXs, it's just really big amount of dollars that will be putting it back into the ecosystem for the node holders as well. So it's all about the sustainability of the nodes that we're building. All the fees generated from a DEX will be coming back into the pool from the bridge as well. So it all ties in together.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. All right. Now, at the beginning of the actual AMA, I did say that normally I ask projects 6 questions, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through a couple of the actual questions, only because yourself, Tom, have kind of reached, you fulfilled one of the actual questions. Would you be willing to dock yourself, show your face on a video? And you're clearly there. You're the CEO, so you're the one driving the ship. Let me go through one of the other questions. Is your contract? I noticed that it's not verified. Is there any reason why it's not verified?
What do you mean when you say verified?
Verified then?
The liquidity pair, you can see the actual code, but your actual token the Apex contract.
So you mean the code being open source? So we're using proprietary code. We don't want people to fork our contract. Another risk that is posed by exposing that is it increases the susceptibility to hacks. So the easiest way to hack a protocol is to have access to the code and then look for an exploit in that code such that to gain an advantage there. So all of our code is proprietary code and will not be open source.
Yeah. In terms of the security as well, one of the things that the insurance company did before they insured us, which is Uno Re, they actually ripped our contracts apart in terms of the security because they wanted to make sure they put their money where they believe is safe. So currently we're going through a CERTIC audit. We're probably much like 90% complete. So hopefully next 1 or 2 days we might be able to release that as well. So which is CERTIC's great. I love CERTIC and like they're doing the right thing. But even before getting to CERTIC, we had so many audits going for our contracts through the insurance companies as well. So yeah.
Well, you guys. Sorry, no, go ahead.
So another important thing, Apex is the world's first node contract that's insured against smart contract risk. And the audit done by the insurance company is well more thorough than something that you'd see from even the most high tier independent auditing firms. They want to make sure that the contract they're insuring is not vulnerable. So they've been working with us since the very beginning. I actually look at Uno as really, they're almost indistinguishable from our core team, actually. They work so closely with us. And they're there with us when we're talking to other partners as well. So we've had a very, very close relationship with them, both from the development standpoint and from the business development standpoint as well.
It's interesting because, yes, I mean, I wasn't aware that you're getting an audit with CERTIC, but we pretty much work closely with CERTIC, and CERTIC and Hacken is pretty much, the cream of the crop when it comes down to auditing. But when you say you've had a you're insured, is that company by any chance called Deloitte?
This is so one of our partners that we've announced a couple of weeks ago is Uno Re, and they're the insurance provider.
Right. Okay. I haven't heard of them, but okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So you guys are getting audited by CERTIC. What about KYC and the whole legality part of it? Are you
sure.
They're actually doing that as well, the KYC.
Okay. So how it works is that it's actually the 4th. The date. Let me have a look. So with the KYC, even though I'm docs, we wanted to actually do the KYC as well. So we provide all the information, everything, all the documents, my IDs, the backgrounds, contracts were all sent. And then the next stage was to have a one-on-one face video interview. That's step 2 of the process. I went in booking a calendar, to book it, and the only availability was the 5th. So so I had to book it in and online. So I'm just waiting for that interview stage there to see, me holding my ID, going through the checks, and so we wanted to do that with through CERTIC as well.
Brilliant.
To be fully transparent.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. I mean, we're gonna have CERTIC on the 6th as well, doing. I wouldn't really call it an AMA. We're gonna have them on our on the actual YouTube channel. So that will be interesting. But okay, so right, so the legalities is there. Reason being is because for an investor's perspective, as you guys are aware, there's so many rug pulls that's happened. So many, let's just call them thieves. That's what I call them. Right? There's so many thieves in the DeFi space at the moment, and in order to litigate a lot of these issues, it's important that we can clean the space up, right? So if somebody like yourselves that's got a project and you're willing to put yourself on video, right? Have your KYC done with a legitimate company. I keep hearing projects coming out talking about they're getting done with Assured DeFi and all these, and I'm just thinking, who is Assured DeFi? And 90% of the projects that go with them end up being rug pulls and scams. So I'm not here to badmouth. I'm not saying Assured DeFi are scammers, but when you're going with a company like Hacken to have an audit, or you're going with Certic, then at least, not saying you projects don't come out and actually rug pull or scam going through legitimate auditing companies, but you see, being an auditing company, you can audit the contract to a certain perspective, but you can't audit people and people's intentions. And that's the difficulty. That is where you sort of weigh things up. But the mere fact that you guys done your KYC, so you've literally submitted your legal papers with your legal name, your legal or government name and government everything, shows that you guys are serious. So I just want to say thank you for doing that, and at least that gives a little bit of credibility, right? In actual fact, a lot of credibility above a lot of projects that's out there, because a lot of people don't even want to show their face. No, thanks for that. I mean, again, it goes back to, as you said, because people have been hurt in previous, projects that, and don't forget, we are investors. So when we're making these decisions, we always have our investor hat on. We're like, what would the community like to see? All right, let's work with Certic. All right, let's do the docs. So everything that you just mentioned, that, we hear the community, we know what they want, and it's tough right now to bring that confidence back. But we believe if we do everything right and everything by the books, be very transparent, that we're very confident we're going to bring that trust back.
Yeah. If I think about it from a business development perspective, and even having the conversations with Tommy and Adam, I think bringing back that confidence is potentially a game changer in the current marketing climate for nodes. So even as I was going through all my checks, I was having the same conversations, and everything I've seen and believe, everything's been very well thought out. There's a very specific vision and plan in place, and I think we can become the leading protocol very quickly.
Brilliant. Sounds good. I've got one more question, then I really want you guys to get into a lot of what's actually happening with your roadmap and your future stuff, and really get into what you guys want to share with Apex. All right. So my last question that I would have submitted to you guys before this AMA happened, but anyway, it is what it is. Last question is, will the dev wallet be multi-sig and locked? And if so, for how long and who with?
Every multi-sig wallet for the project is under tight lock and key with the core team members that have undergone a KYC, and the identities of the team members are known to. So while there's 19 of us, the people that have gone through the KYC will have access to the multi-sig.
And they've gone through the KYC, exactly. The people that have gone through the KYC through Certic are the ones that are actually holding all the multi-sigs. And it's actually tough sometimes with these time zones as well, because sometimes we need to sign something. We're like, where's Tommy? Oh my God, he's sleeping. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. We need to wake up for it. So even though it's a bit frustrating, it's the right way to do it. And like sometimes I may wake up going, oh, you need to sign this, do this. Oh yeah, okay, let me just give me a second. So yeah, it's all multi-sigged, secured.
Brilliant. Okay, and you just said that there's 19 people in your team. You said, right?
Yeah, 19 full time, and
then we actually have contractors on top of that as well.
Okay, all right.
How many are KYC out of the bunch? Is it 19 then?
No, it's only the ones on the multi-sig that get KYC. So as far as the identities of the 19, we know them, but most, like for example, like the hardware. Like somebody on the ground managing hardware doesn't necessarily need to have access to the multi-sig. So
right, correct.
Really, the small fraction of the team has access to the keys.
And so that's 5 people, like your core team.
It's the core team, the people that have gone through the that Certic KYC.
And the core team is how many? Five? Is it 5 of you or?
So core team, as far as the multi-sig, I believe there are 4 individuals on the multi-sig. And then as far as the core team, I think of the core team as perhaps a little bit, I mean, the core team is everyone, so to speak. But as far as the people making the managerial decisions, that's a much smaller number.
Okay.
But
right.
every one of our team members is absolute all-star and is essential, and I consider everybody a core team member.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Well, my questions are done from the questions that I should have asked you in the beginning. So
that's okay, because even with our previous AMAs, that we've had a lot of, the people that were going to do the AMA, like some said that, would you like to provide, a question? We're like, nah, look, that's fine. We'll just rock into these AMAs. And then like some of them would say, I'm not going to give any questions to you. I'm just going to be, I'm like, yeah, that's how we prefer it. And as Dean said as well, when we were first chatting, it was like, because they wanted to go for certain things. And we said, look, there's nothing here that we shouldn't be able to answer. Just shoot it through. And then normally, our way of doing things is let's just rock into an AIM and let's have a chat. Let's put that recording button on and then let's just have an open chat. And then while we're chatting, record it. And then, so it shouldn't be any questions that, we should be having prior or that we shouldn't be able to answer. That's how we wanted to come into these AMAs.
Brilliant. And to be quite honest, the speed in which the guy that actually put us together, it was pretty fast, and it was like, yeah, let's do it. He asked me a couple of questions. He wanted to know.
Let's have a chat. Yeah.
And it was there. So here we are. Okay, LJ, you got anything you want to ask before open it up for Apex to really kind of just throw?
Yeah. Let's let them go. Let's let them go off on some stuff, because I think they've answered everything I wanted to ask. So now it's just time to learn.
Yeah. Go for it, guys.
Yeah, so I mean, just some overview. Again, I think we've delved into a lot of our, units as well. We've gone into details that auto compounder, DAX, and what we're trying to build from a, sustainability model. Look, I think, what we're trying to do is just really people to see our visions and to understand that, it's not just your general node protocol that's going to be coming here, investing their treasury and hoping for the best. We really wanted to come up with a solution. And as mentioned before as well, that if we deliver on all our promises, and we've really, we're very, in our timelines, when you look at it, some people might say it's very, it's very tight, but we really believe that we can deliver on all those. And we've got each units and each project teams that's working alongside with that as well. So, look, I mean, I think, we would love for people to, join our Discord as well if they've got more questions. We've got an amazing team there that will just pretty much answer every question that they have. And just to really have an open mind when it comes to all new projects, and not just treat it as the previous ones that people have been heard of, that they've seen on Twitter around the, as you said, the thieves that's coming into the community with a bad intention. So look, we're very excited. I know it's the beginning of the journey. It's only been a couple of days, and we have achieved a lot as well, and we've got a lot more coming down as well in terms of some partnerships and some real utility user cases. And we just want to really show that to the community, be very transparent, and have a really enjoy the journey. That's really in a high level nutshell.
Brilliant.
So I want to give you guys a sneak peek at something we're going to be unveiling in more detail, let's say, in the very near future. So we discussed a DeFi auto compounder. So that's separate from the concept in nodes of compounding your nodes, which is making more nodes with your node rewards. So just to keep our language clear, I'll separate compounding from auto compounding as far as that's concerned. We are going to be unveiling a series of very substantial incentives for our node holders that compound their rewards into additional nodes. Nothing like what we've done has been built in the space, and it's going to provide a substantial amount of value specifically to our node holders that are most loyal to the protocol and believe in our vision enough to compound their nodes. So that's something I'm going to be very, very excited. We're all very excited to unveil in the near future. That's going to take the UI to the next level. It's going to be fascinating.
Yeah. And we've actually just announced the Blocktopia partnership as well last night, before I went to bed as well. So that's quite interesting. A lot of people are, well, what's this metaverse thing? Well, we actually, I know, we actually wanted to build our foundation in terms of, really have, that transparent meetings in our Blocktopia office where people can come really just visit us in our virtual offices as well. Really check out, our screens, lending protocols, have chats. So again, we wanted to utilize that space in the upcoming months as well. When our offices is fully furnished and decorated, we'll put our screens in there, have our meetings, people can come and chat. So that's a different angle as well that we wanted to bring to the community.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And you know what, I am going to reach out to you guys after the actual AMA moving forward and actually, working with you guys in a sense, if you have more things that you want to share to the community, then the channel's open. Just reach out to me and we can make that happen, right?
Thank you.
In terms of questions, I'm pretty much done. What about yourself, OJ?
I think for the most part, I'm pretty done. I keep wanting to ask more about the sustainability portion on the hardware side, but I know that doesn't really play as much a part, and maybe
absolutely.
It plays a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's delve into that.
Okay, because I'm very neurotic in that sense. I love the
we can get into technical if you guys want. Yeah, sure. We can put it to another AMA.
Yeah, so
guys, but we can get into technicals as well.
Solar power backed hardware.
Not actually. We're actually using hydroelectric utilities for our energy.
So even more sustainable. That's tremendous.
Well, and it's not necessarily more expensive it's actually cheaper than using, depending on your region, it's actually cheaper than using fossil fuels. We're paying anything compared to most regions of the world, we're getting very, very cheap electricity in British Columbia, which is the site of our first data center. So let's look at sustainability from both an environmental perspective and then from a revenue perspective as well. We're deploying Arweave hardware in addition to the Avalanche, Telos, other networks that we have available as RPC endpoints. Another network that we think is going to be absolutely essential for Web3 and true decentralization of the internet, let's say, is Arweave. So we are deploying Arweave nodes with the intention to build our network of decentralized nodes up to 10% of the total Arweave network. And Arweave nodes are actually financially productive in that they produce Arweave tokens. It's similar to mining Bitcoin or Ethereum, although the process is different, and it's using special hard drives as opposed to processing power from a CPU or GPU in Bitcoin and Ethereum's case, say. So our infrastructure will both be financially productive as well as completely sustainable on the environmental end.
That's tremendous. I like the use of hydroelectric too, because in Michigan, that's all my head goes to, because we have the lakes here. So can't imagine it's any different in BC. With the Arweave nodes, 10% by the end of this year, correct?
That's correct.
So is basically all the node creation in terms of transactions that are going on right now really fueling that number of 10%? Like it's because the way that you guys are working to me is very methodical and sustainably first, right? So if I'm almost guessing that is more than feasible and it will be accomplished, what is the further progression for that 10% at the end of this year?
So we picked that 10% number to both be ambitious yet achievable. So it's on the order of, I think, a couple of hundred nodes for the Arweave network to reach 10%. So when we had set that target, there was about 1,100 Arweave nodes out there. There have since been more added to the network. So we picked that number as to say that we plan to be quite an ambitious player and an important part of Web3. We want to become a builder of this ecosystem, such that we can let's say increase the amount of storage, say, for a network like Arweave. And just a deeper dive into Arweave for a second. So one of the use cases that's been absolutely remarkable during the Russian-Ukraine war, data integrity has become a critical issue, and at no time more important than in a war zone. To date, over 50 million pieces of data, whether that be media, videos, text, other types of data, have been uploaded to the Arweave network in a way that's going to be permanently stored, in a way that cannot be altered, in a way that will be around for hundreds of years to come. And historians are going to be looking through that data long after all of our time. And it's the remarkable bit of it is they will know that data was authentic and hadn't been edited in any way.
That's tremendous.
We're getting special requests from our partners to specifically really use the Arweave infrastructure that we're building on them. And how it all started was when we're talking to partners, there was actually a need to use these nodes. It's very expensive to set up for a project, and it just takes a long time. So that's why we wanted to streamline that process for them. Have a client login section in our website, really, where they can just really log in. We can configure their network and their projects into the Arweave infrastructure, and they can really start using. And so like if you think about the Amazon, network, how you log in and you really can start using. So that's kind of a streamline that we've got our vision that our clients will be using on our websites and our infrastructure.
So we've actually been working on a solution for one of our partners that we've not actually announced in any way that's using the Arweave network. And that one is, to be honest, one of the aspects of the ecosystem I'm most excited about. I think it's going to be huge because there's nothing like it in crypto at the moment, and it's going to be an important part of. I think almost every NFT project will want to use this. I think it's going to be a really, really important part of Web3 and decentralization in a way that'll be accessible to anyone.
And feel free to share.
You'll be the first.
We will schedule another AMA. Definitely, we'll jump on board and we will.
All right, no worries. All right, no worries. You know what? I'll be honest with you guys. What you guys have and what you're bringing to the space is, and I'm going to say this, it's welcome, and I really hope it sustains a lot longer than these BS stuff. And what you guys have shared, it sounds like it really can really do this, right? I'm not sure if you guys are abreast, but regulations is coming into the whole DeFi space, right? And it's specific to DeFi. The US, and if I can, just to share, because and this has no reflections on you guys. You guys have done a tremendous job explaining exactly what you guys are doing. You guys have gone through all the steps and greater to show that you guys are serious, right? But there's a lot of projects that's out there that they need to understand this, right? So I'm just really going to share my screen just real quick, just only because I think it's important that we bring some understanding to this. I was on your actual DEX, and this is the actual token and everything else. Let me just quickly move over to this. This is a New York State Senate, and that's the bill number 8839. Okay. And I must say, one of my business partners, Mr. Hustle, actually brought this to my attention through his legal team, right? And this is what they're trying to do. Now, let me just bring it down to a more easier, readable perspective. Proposed New York bill looks to criminalize crypto rug pulls and scams. Now, the thing is, this bill, what normally happens is certain bills might take 6 months, a year, 2 years, once they work it out. This bill is going to be, you know, in action within weeks, if not days. Yeah. This is something that I've been trying to steer the DeFi and the whole cryptocurrency away from. But because of these ruggers and these scammers, it's forcing the government to take a perspective where they're saying they're protecting people from losing funds. What this can do, though, is actually, and some will argue it's good because those people will get arrested. Yeah. And it's good because we want thieves to be arrested and be imprisoned. However, from a whole perspective, from a DeFi space and understanding how DeFi works and what DeFi was created for, it's going against the whole ethos of you are now in control of your finances. It's not a centralized thing, it's decentralized, right? So this is something which I wanted to bring only so that anybody else who sees it profitable to create a company or create a project, let's say, and go out there with the pure intentions to scam. This is what you're going to be. And these guys have long arms. They can reach outside of US shores into the Europes, into anywhere you're hiding, they can reach you. And not only that, the blockchain is very transparent. Yeah.
It's well.
Yeah,
needed,
this goes back to the importance of, say, doing a KYC. So as to the specifics of this New York regulation, I mean, it seems. I hope that anybody that's actually perpetrating a financial crime is held accountable for that. Having said that, our company is domiciled in Dubai, unlike a lot of these companies that for some reason have decided to incorporate in the United States. So outside of just this specific state bill, if you look at the actual federal language around crypto in the United States, it's kind of a wait and see thing. I think everybody's waiting for them to kind of bring the hammer down and regulate crypto further. So we'll have to see. But as far as any direct exposure to the United States, which we actually view as, and I think everybody would agree, it's one of the worst countries from a crypto perspective with their laws. I mean, barring a few that have just outright banned crypto generally, we thought it was important to domicile our company in a place that's, let's say, friendly to crypto from the get-go. So from an operational standpoint, let's look at regulations more broadly. We're in a position where we're going to take a proactive look at any and all regulations and any and all jurisdictions and their favorability towards crypto, and that's why we've landed on Dubai for that.
Yeah, so if we have a look at that bill specifically, I think personally it was well needed. I think it's a bit even late into the occasion because, and I hope they implement that bill very quickly, that they can actually, it's not just for US, but they can actually, track, the thieves that you were talking about that had the wrong intention more quickly, because unfortunately it's lacking that kind of, that tightening around. It's so easy to someone to, like, for example, Elon Musk will say a word and then that person will now create a smart contract. Yes, this is the new meme coin. Let's all jump to it. And then 2 minutes later, like, it shouldn't be this easy to create a smart contract and really, and look, I'm not it's not their fault 100% as well. It's really an efforts of the community of the crypto. Is really, how can I make quick money? How can I really join this project and really, turn it around? So going back to that bill, well needed, and I hope that execute that really well, that they can reach out to those criminals. But going back to what Adam said as well, that we're based in Dubai because of those legislations that were just unknown. It's a very unknown, it's very green crypto, the adoption, the user cases, so we don't know what kind of a legislation would come in to place. Hence we went to a user-friendly country like Dubai. And also when we're building the decentralized node infrastructure, again, one would be in Canada, the other one would be in Hong Kong, and so all around the world we'd be building our data centers to have that truly decentralization. If some legislation kicks into a country, that's okay, we can work with those local communities, but we've also still got that operational availability, uptime for our nodes as well. So hence we wanted to do that full decentralization model.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And I agree. I mean, the whole crypto space really was to put the power in the people's hands. Yeah. But I suppose we sort of we're used to a centralized system that protects us and protects our funds. For instance, PayPal is one of the tools that I use in that sense, that if I'm paying for a product or service, it gives me an insurance to know that if that service or product is not delivered, at least I have that insurance to know that they're going to work with me to regain the lost funds, right? And as hard as this is to say, there are people that commit suicide through losing money to projects. And I'm just saying, regulation comes to take control of the whole DeFi space, but safeguard people at least, or give people some tools or ammunition so that that doesn't happen, right? So it's a double-edged sword, and in that sense, it's hard.
It's a fine balance, isn't it? It's a fine balance between going, trying to do the right thing in terms of blocking this, but also to not step into that area where what the crypto is about, that fully decentralized, having ownership of your finance. So, but however, because of as I said, like that fine balance, that hopefully they will work it out soon, and they can roll out those registrations.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I'm hopeful that the DeFi space can clean itself up, especially with what you guys are doing, because you guys are coming and you're actually providing services with longevity. You've gone out and you've actually investigated projects and you've done your homework, and you're filling the gaps and you're providing sustainability. That's the key word to a lot of these projects today, is sustainability. And what you guys are talking about with your exchange, with everything else that you have along your roadmap, I can see that at least you have something which can bring about a sustainable model that can last. And then if it doesn't last, over a year, then you may revisit it and then cut it down. And I'll be honest with you, that right there is 100-fold more than any other projects ever considered doing, right? And with your partnerships and everything else that you guys are doing, I take my hat off to you. And I say,
appreciate that.
Thank you very much for giving the time to even think about creating a project like this.
No, I really appreciate those words. Thank you. Very humble. To hear that. But so every decision that we wanted to make, that again, we come from the investor background. We've invested in a lot of those companies as well, and we wanted to do the right thing by implementing those. And there was a lot of times that we said, is this right for the community? Put your investor hat on. Would we want to invest in that? We're like, no, not really. So let's scrape that in. Let's work on things again. So yeah, like, appreciate those kind words. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. And you know what, guys? Because of your transparency and your openness and your project, my doors are open. Any new announcements, any progression in your project and what you guys are building, my doors are open. I'd love to have you guys back on.
Fantastic. Great.
Well, it's
thank
really
you.
chatting with you guys. And we've actually strived to build we've absolutely strived to build the node protocol that we would want to invest in ourselves, or feel comfortable with our closest friends and family investing in, say. And that's why we've strived to do everything to the very next level. That's why insured node protocol partners with live nodes. For example, we've just announced our Telos partnership last week. Already, a Telos developer can purchase one of our nodes and then receive an RPC endpoint that they can build with for that network, as well as the Avalanche network, and we'll be expanding that list. So we've gone live with use cases, with actual developers using our nodes already, and the best is yet to come. And really appreciate your time, OJ and Carl. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you guys so much.
And we can't wait to come back on. Thank you.
Yeah.
The doors are open. We didn't cover every aspect of Apex nodes. So we reached out to them and we asked the question, because if you buy the tokens, you can't sell it. All right. So we asked a couple of questions. They've gone ahead and answered it. So do you know what? The answers are right there. They sent an email with the answers, and I'm going to read them for you now. Hi, Carl. 2 things to clarify with the Apex protocol. Number 1, we have built our own DEX, therefore the liquidity is uploaded into our own exchange. Some platforms might show no liquidity, and this is false. We currently have 1.3 million, I presume, in total in our own platform. Okay, so that's the first question, because if you go into certain websites like Token Sniffer, for instance, it will flash up and say no liquidity, which, right, well, obviously they're trading, so clearly there has to be some type of liquidity, right? Number 2, the second question is, and this is this is the second answer to the second question that I posed to them. You can only sell the Apex token if you created a node. We design it this way to maintain long-term sustainability. So trades didn't use Apex. So traders who didn't use Apex to pump and dump and launch. And this also stopped all anti-bot mechanisms. Right, so literally, just break it down, guys. If you go ahead and you just want to trade the actual token, you can't do that. You're buying it for the mere purpose of actually creating a node, yeah? Because if you buy it, you won't be able to sell it. Okay, so I really wanted to put that out there. In actual fact, I am going to attach this so that you guys are clear, so that, you know, once you've watched the AMA, you've got all the information that you need. So at least before you go in and invest, you know exactly how you need to go about things. And just in case you see some warnings like no liquidity, or if you realize you can't sell the tokens, here's the answers for you. And I believe it is actually in the white paper, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, and thank you guys. Thank you. OJ, you got anything that you want to say before we close it down?
Yeah, again, thank you guys for being a part of the true decentralization movement, gearing everything towards sustainability. And I can't wait to hear more about these next fundamental kind of portions of infrastructure that are going to lead you guys much greater to I have to give the users a little bit of one-to-one here. They're doing something tremendous right now. They're doing something tremendous that is going to be used within our lives. We're going to interact with it at some point in time. So hats off to you guys. Number 1, you guys are going to greater lengths than anyone thinks currently. And the sooner that they realize project like yours is truly where we're going and where we need to gear towards, the sooner that we're going to all be operating under decentralization. So I appreciate it. And thank you guys both for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Brilliant. Okay, guys. Well, you know what? This is it. CBK, another AMA with Apex Nodes. Thank you guys for being here. I've been your main guy, CBK. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace, peace. I'm out.